Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is really this idea of stress in the world.
Yeah.
You know, during the pandemic, you know, you've been somebody that is out there not only helping people heal physically, but also help them heal with their mindset. That has a lot to do with what some call mental health. I know that we're trying to change that brand to something more positive, like wellness, mental fitness. But one of the things that I've always found very curious about you, not only have you applied that in the healthcare field, but also you've applied that in the sports arena as being a professional athlete and a swimmer. But let's talk a little bit about what do you see as one of the biggest problems that stress is causing around the world? And then I want us to take us on a journey on this amazing new book that you're just releasing, that you actually have a process where people can actually get themselves out of that funk, out of that negativity of stress into empowerment and thriving. And you're doing that with so many of your mentees and people that you're consulting with. But I want us to take us, what do you see as the big issue right now in your research over the last couple of years as you were putting this book together?
Yeah, no, it's great. You want me to answer that?
Yes. This is your time, buddy.
It's my time.
Yeah.
Well, you know, what I've seen, especially during the pandemic and also reflecting inside of myself, right, is, you know, a lot of people obviously are stressed, and stress comes in many shapes and forms. But I think when we're talking about people with ADHD, anxiety, depression, PTSD, people, you know, there are therapies out there, there are medicines out there, there are supplements out there to manage those symptoms and those, you know, mental conditions. But what I found really doing a lot of podcasts and talking to a lot of people in the medical marijuana field and in the CBD field, I really feel that there's a much bigger issue. And that is that most people do not have or don't know their purpose in life. And so think about this. If you're just out there and you get bombarded with 14,000, you know, messages per day, that's the average, by the way, we bombarded with, and we have this influx of information, and we don't have a system in place to manage that chaos, and we don't have a purpose, we don't have a plan, we don't have a strategy, we're always putting out fires, and we're not in control of our agenda, of our calendar, and our life, obviously, we're going to be in a very stressful situation that's a vicious cycle we can't get out of, right? And so I believe that in many instances, when we help people find or even confirm their purpose in life, then we can get rid of all those symptoms and negative emotions and feelings. Because once we have a purpose in life, and for those who don't know, in my book I have many exercises to figure out what your purpose in life is, and often it's actually simple, but we've become to not dream big enough, and we've gotten away from the things that we dreamed about when we were kids, because people told us, well, that's impossible, right? And so then we've settled for ordinary, and we follow what we've been told to do, which is go to school, go to college, work for somebody till we're 65, and then, you know, buy an RV if you can and travel around the United States. And usually it doesn't happen. And so we're stuck in that direction because society kind of puts it on us. And then we have our parents or our teachers that do the same thing, because if dad's a lawyer, he wants you to go to law school. If mom's a doctor, he wants you to go to medical school, and your teachers tell you need to have a good education so you can provide for your family later on. And so, but nobody's concerned about what you really want. And so there's exercises out there, and there's people like you and I that can help people find or confirm their purpose in life. And your purpose in life is the things that make you passionate. It's the things that put fire in your stomach, something that you want to do. But most people, they know what that is, especially if we help them find it, but their credentials don't match, or their experience doesn't match. Or they say, oh, you know, being an artist is not going to make me any money. And they're so wrong, because when you're passionate about something and you're the best at something, the money will follow. You just cannot concentrate or focus on the money. You got to focus on what you're passionate about. And so the first step of the IZOD method is really finding or confirming that passion in life. And once we find that passion and fire, the next step is we need to take control of our life, because that's what's causing all the stresses. So the book is full of scripts and tips and strategies to take control of your calendar, of your agenda, increasing productivity, focus, multitasking, or not multitasking, because that's a mistake, but there's many tips and strategies for us to get organized, to control that chaos of influx information, to have a calendar that we can look forward to. So now we're in control of our day, of our upcoming week, of our month. We're in control of the calendar. We know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow and the next week, step by step. What I do, for example, as a part of my evening power routine, I visualize the next day in 3 minutes. And during that visualization, I make all the right choices about lunch, about this, about that. And so when the next day comes, there is no fear, there is no worry, there are not going to be any surprises, because I'm in total control of my calendar, my agenda, and my life. And so what we need to do once we find purpose in life, we need to create control. And control creates clarity. When we're clear about our life, what's happening today, tomorrow, next week, next month, and what our goals and dreams are, there is no space. There is no room for stress, for uncertainty, for lack of purpose, for worry, for fear, for possible failure, for anxiety, depression. There's simply no space for those things. So that's step number one of the IZOD method, is finding the life of purpose and then creating control and clarity.
Well, one of the things that I really liked about that is the fact that we have the ability to recognize the source. And also in your own personal life, you have been fine-tuning this process for so many years, in allowing people to recognize that the circumstances that they're facing, that doesn't necessarily need to mean that that's going to be what's defining them. That's what's going to determine their outcome. So, so once you get through that first process, what's next?
Yeah, what's next is, when we have that purpose of life and we implement strategies to really take control, we need to create a plan or a strategy, right? We all know in business and entrepreneurs that without that plan, that written plan, nothing major comes to fruition. But a plan doesn't necessarily mean we need to know the how-tos and all those details. So we just need to know the what's. What do we want to achieve, and what is the timeline, and what do we need to do? The how-tos, they will fall in place as we, get through the process, and as we surround ourselves with a team of experts, because that's the second part of the plan. And that's really what I learned, through you and other mentors lately, is that without a team of experts, you can never achieve your highest potential. And yesterday I had a great discussion on another podcast, because people always say you need to work on your weaknesses. And I totally disagree with that. We need to identify your strengths and continue to work on your strengths. What we do with the weaknesses is we need to identify people that are strong where you are weak, and then surround yourself with those people, because you want to have that strength that nobody else has. And then you surround yourself with those people that you need to fulfill your dreams and your goals. So the second step is making that plan and strategy, but a critical part of that strategy and plan is to identify first just titles, and then actually names of people that you may need. And that it doesn't necessarily have to be, experts or professionals or billionaires. It could be your secretary that's good at something. It could be a family member. It could be somebody you may, meet next month at some kind of a mentorship program or whatever. So that's part of the plan. And the other part of the plan is continue to get total control of your agenda, your calendar, and your life. And know that you wake up each morning. That's what I do. It's part of my morning routine. There's a lot of things in my morning routine, but it's like, okay, what's on my agenda? Oh, it's this. Why am I doing this? because that's another step closer to my big dream, my big goal. So now within the first 5 minutes you're awake, you already get that fire and passion back in your life. And it doesn't matter if there's obstacles, because once you know what you want, you got to finish, you're seeing it there. I always say it's like the 110 meters hurdles at the Olympic Games. They need to take 10 hurdles, those guys or those women. Those women, it's one hurdle less, it's 100 meters, I believe. But they know the finish, so they're not throwing their arms in the air. Oh my God, there's a hurdle, I'm giving up. It's not meant to be for me. No, because they know where the finish is. They know where they're going. They know they're going to be hurdles. So you attack them. Right? They become opportunities. They're incremental steps that bring you closer to your ultimate goal. So what we need to do here is we need to continue to implement some IZOD method strategies to really get that clarity in all aspects of our life. And then you need people like me and you, Dr. Fab, that help people be accountable to take those steps on a weekly or monthly basis, and to get rid of projects and get rid of things that they are doing that not contribute to their goals. So there's many tips that you and I help people with, spending a lot of time on things, on projects that other people ask you to help them with, but if they don't serve you any good, we should start saying no. And there's many things in the book also that show you on how you can free up a lot of valuable time, because people always say, oh, I don't have any time to do an extra hour of this or an extra hour of that. Well, let's put it in our plan, because there's many things that you're wasting time on. So let's identify how we can free up time, because we can't buy time, we can't borrow time. So we need to free it up, right? And you would be surprised on how much time that we are spending on things that are not furthering our purpose. So that's all part of step number 2, which is the plan, the strategy, the team of experts, and continue to, tighten down that agenda, the calendar, and control in life, because control is clarity, no stress.
Well, I mean, you said it many times. We allow other people's agenda to become our agenda.
Yeah.
We allow distractions to keep us from our dreams and our goals. We surround ourselves with people that are actually robbing our dreams and actually what I call the naysayers that are going to shut down no matter what we say. Oh, you'll never do that. Oh, there's nobody in our family that's ever done that. Oh, what are you thinking? You're living in the clouds. Come on and come back to reality. And that those are very dangerous people, because they're robbing you from your destiny. And one of the things that I love about your book is that you give us exercises and you give us ways that we can actually implement the right things in our lives, not only recognize what we need to do, but how do we do it? And that's something that I believe a lot of authors are not doing nowadays, and is unfortunate.
Yeah, we can identify the problem, but my books always have the solution, the tips, the strategies, the action list, right? It's what do we do about it now? And this works very well. And I'm proud of the book. It's really going to help a lot of people that actually want to make some changes. Because the third part, Dr. Fab, as you know, is once we have control, once we have a plan, once we have our purpose in life, there's no stopping us. That's when we need to unleash our superpowers. And we all have them. We're all here for a reason. And our purpose of life now becomes our superpower, right? And so the third part is actually biohacking. And biohacking is upgrading our body, our brain, and our life. So unfortunately, most people, I have usually 3 phases when it comes to health. Phase number 1 is we need to regain control of our health. And unfortunately, most people they're in pain. They have some kind of a medical condition. So they're below normal is what we call it, right? I don't like that word normal, but it's an easy reference. So what we do is we make sure we get rid of that pain and we eliminate those medical diagnoses. And people say, well, how do you do that? Well, not through conventional medicine, by masking symptoms. It's we got to peel the onion and see what's causing those. And we got to look at the body as a whole and heal you. And so with my background as a PhD in holistic nutrition and looking at Mother Nature and animals in the wild, I've been very successful, because I believe there's only one one cause of all disease, and therefore there's only one solution. So I'm very confident I can help people regain control of their health and get back to quote unquote normal. The next step then is we need to optimize health, because who wants to be normal, right? We don't want to be average. We're talking about superpowers here. So now we need to optimize our health. We need to implement lifestyle modifications, and we need to start doing things so we can be strong, fit, and vital. We have to be in control of our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. So that's like a picture of health, right? But more than a picture, it's a reality of health. And then step number 3, being in optimal health would be the best foundation to maximize the benefits of biohacking. And for those listeners that really don't know what biohacking is, it's really upgrading our body, brain, and our life. It's actually reversing our biological age, but objectively. We can measure the effectiveness of the strategies that we implement doing that. And the reason why this is the 3rd step is because whether you are a musician that wants to make another #1 hit, or whether you're an artist that is looking to make a masterpiece, or an entrepreneur, or a top athlete, it does not matter, because you cannot perform at your highest potential if you're not in optimal health. Your mind and your body, in the better shape they are, the better you're going to perform, no matter what you do in life. So it's a crucial element to perform at your highest potential. And that's where the mind comes in, because it's not just about the body. Our body is our motor, but we got to get the right fuel in there, and our mind controls this whole system, this whole body, right? So the last few years, I really have been diving into the mind, into the different brain waves, into how I access those brain waves. So meditation, binaural beats, music, and all those types of things become very important, because we need to have a belief system while we're growing through this IZOD training and this IZOD method. During that time, we really need to believe that we obviously are going to get to that finish line, that we're going to, realize our dreams and meet our goals. And our belief system is very important, because there cannot be any doubt. If there's any doubt that you're going to fail, then the universe basically has 2 options: success and failure. But if we can get to a point where we not only know that we're going to realize those dreams and goals, but we actually feel that we accomplished them already, and there's no doubt in our mind that we're going to fail, then the universe only has one option, and that's a big win. And that's what the book is about, is unleashing those superpowers, going from purpose of life, a plan, a strategy, a team of experts, into biohacking, and especially working on the mind. And, we have a similar inner circle. You introduced me to many great people in your inner circle. So there's so many modalities out there, the brain tap, Nucalm, all those things that can help us getting much, much faster into those zones that we need to get, because people still are probably wondering, what does IZOD stand for? IZOD stands for in the zone on demand, because most of us have been in the zone in the past, but that was merely by accident. It's like, oh my God, I was in the zone. I just crushed my sales presentation, or I just crushed the competition and I won, and I didn't know how. But that was by accident. What if you could be in the zone on demand? What if you could bring your A game each and every time? What if you could crush your competition whenever you wanted to? And that's what this IZOD method is about. And I'm so excited to share it with everybody and help people reach their goals and unleash their superpowers.
Well, for me, as I've known you for a while, and I'm a big fan because you've done that for me. And every time we talk, you always help me become more powerful. And I love when you use the word superpowers, because I believe that a lot of people out there are living like Clark Kent, and they're afraid to become that Superman or Superwoman that they were designed to be. And I think it's important for all of us to recognize that we're living in a time right now that there's never been a more opportune time to share those superpowers with society. Society is in the biggest need, no matter what industry you're in, healthcare, finance, food, whatever industry you're in, we're dealing with a tremendous need right now for people to step up and become the better version of themselves, which to me is them expressing their superpowers. So
yes,
tell me a little bit about, now we heard this amazing message. I read the book, and I know you sent me a pre-copy, and I'm just so grateful, because I have given it to all of my family, and it's just great. I know it's already on Amazon, but what is it that we can do right now as we're inspired to listen to this? Where do we go to learn more about this and to maybe even connect with you on a personal basis to see how we can learn more from you?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I put in place with your help, of course, Dr. Fab. So I'm always, praising you and your great ideas. But my website is the one and only place where you can get everything. It's biohackingunlimited.com. All my books are there. You can get this new book, the IZOD Method, there also. Obviously, you can just type it in Amazon and it's available there. So that's number one. Number two, there's an IZOD Method page, which explains the steps that we just went over. But I'm also starting an IZOD Method training online on Zoom. And it's a very cheap price to learn all this. It's starting on February the 8th. So just go to the IZOD Method page on my website, scroll down and register and just be part of this amazing training. It's going to be 7 weeks on Wednesday evenings. But if you can't make it once or twice, it doesn't matter because I recorded, and those that have paid obviously get the recordings. I also have mentorship programs. So there's 3 levels of mentorship. So check them out. I'm sure there's one of them that would fit your needs. So then we can do this one-on-one, which is obviously a little bit more intense and kind of a faster track to where you need to be. And so those are the things that are available. And besides that, I always do as long as I can, a 20-minute free Zoom call for anybody on the website. You simply, schedule it right there on the calendar, and I'll be glad to talk to you, see where you are, what your needs are, and how we can help to unleash your superpowers.
Well, thank you so much. And for those of you that are listening, I'm telling you, go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and put the link right here. So you can just click there and go to his site. Try to set up that 20 minutes with Dr. Mike, because I'm telling you, it will be one of the greatest gifts that you will give yourself. And make sure that you read this book. I mean, he lays out the components in such a wonderful way. And wouldn't it be nice to be on your zone every single day when you want to, when you need to, and not just by coincidence? Because that's the one thing that you will get out of this book, is that you were meant for greatness. You have so much more inside of you that you're not releasing. And with this book, with this knowledge, with Dr. Mike, you are going to discover and share those superpowers with the world. So thank you, Dr. Mike. Thank you guys for listening, and God bless you. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you real soon.